Let me ask you something before we begin. If you died tomorrow, who would remember you 100 years from now? Don't answer yet, just hold on to that question, because a man who lived 1,000 years ago in the forests of Sweden had an answer. He wasn't a king, he wasn't a prophet, he wasn't a general. He was a man who returned from the sea, found that his friend was gone, and picked up a chisel. And what he did next has haunted historians for 200 years. I am Renas, and this is Renas Saga, where the stone remembers what history has forgotten. The year is 1813. Workers are renovating the walls of an ancient cathedral in the city of Växjö. A layer of paint is stripped away, then another, then a stone. Not just any stone, a massive slab carved with runic letters and a serpent winding around itself with haunting precision. At its center, names and words. But when the scholars arrived and began to read, they stopped at one single word. A word they had never seen on a runestone quite like this before. Viking. It wasn't a name, it wasn't a royal title, it wasn't a holy word. It was a profession. A man carved into the memory of his friend. I am Tiki the Viking, and this stone is for Gunnar. And now the real question begins. Who was Tiki and who was Gunnar? And why does the stone tell us something that the history books never could? Before we continue, I want to plant a thought in your mind. The stone before us, it doesn't just talk about Vikings. It speaks of a question that has haunted humanity since the very first breath. How do you leave a trace that remains after you are gone? Tiki had an answer, but it's not the answer you expect. Stay with me. Tiki. We don't know what he looked like. We don't know if he was tall or short. We don't know if he laughed easily or not at all. But we know what matters most. We know what he chose to do with his life. Back then, around the year 1000, the word Viking meant something very specific. It didn't mean a monster with horns on his head. That is a myth invented by the 19th century. It meant a man who went on sea voyages, for trade, for raids, or both. It was a seasonal profession, much like saying today, a sailor, a contractor, or a mercenary. Tiki lived this life. He went far away, perhaps to England, perhaps to France, maybe even further. Then he returned. And here is the first detail that makes you stop. In the region of Växjö, there were other men named Tiki, more than one. So, when the carver wanted to identify the man behind the stone, he didn't say, Tiki, son of so-and-so. He didn't say, Tiki from such and such village. He said, Tiki, the Viking. Because that is what defined him. That was his identity. That is how everyone in the land knew him. The man who goes and returns from the sea. Tiki the Viking, the sea warrior, the man who lived on raids and danger, carved a prayer into his friend's stone. A Christian prayer. May God save his soul. This is not a Norse pagan formula. This is not a call to Odin or Thor. This is prayer, faith, explicit Christianity. So, what is so amazing about that? The stone dates back to around the year 1000, but the first official bishop of Sweden didn't arrive until 1060, 60 years later. This means Christianity was here before it was official, before the bishops, before the cathedrals, before everything. How did it arrive? Through men like Tiki. When Vikings traveled to England, France, or Byzantium, they don't just return with gold. They return with ideas, with questions about death, the soul, and the afterlife. Tiki saw something in his travels that made him believe. Maybe a cathedral, maybe a monk, maybe a moment. We don't know, but we know that when his friend died, he didn't call for Odin, he prayed to God. A Viking and a Christian in the same body at the same time. And this destroys the entire stereotype you have in your mind about the Vikings. Now, let's stand before the stone for a second, not as tourists, but as people who want to understand what Tiki wanted to say. The serpent winding across the stone is no coincidence. This style is called Ringerike, a Scandinavian art form that appeared right around the year 1000. The serpent is the stone, its body is the frame, and the runes, they crawl along its length, starting from the head, following every curve around the edges until they reach the vertical strip on the right. And in that vertical strip, the prayer, may God save his soul. It reads from the bottom up, as if it's rising, as if it's ascending. And in the very heart of the stone, in the center rectangle, right above the serpent's head, one single name, Tiki. In the center, holding everything together. But the person who occupies my mind in this story is not Tiki, it is Gunnar. Gunnar, son of Grim. 3 words, but is all that remains of an entire human life. We don't know how long he lived, we don't know how he died, we don't know if he loved or had children, but we know one thing that reveals everything. There was someone who loved him enough to spend the money, the time, and the effort to keep him alive in stone. And here is the turn you don't expect. Think with me. Kings from that same era have vanished from memory completely. Generals known by no one. The wealthy whose palaces didn't leave a single brick. But Gunnar, a man we know nothing about, his name is still alive 1,000 years later. Why? Because Tiki loved him. History doesn't always preserve the strongest, the wealthiest, or the most famous. Sometimes it only preserves those who were loved by someone enough to raise a stone in their name. And now I want you to bring everything you've heard together. A man who lives a life of danger and the sea. He travels far, he sees the world, he fights, he returns with a new faith in an old soul. He finds his friend is gone, and he doesn't just mourn him in silence. He doesn't just bury him and forget. Instead, he stands before a stone, and he says to the carver, "Carve his name, and my name beside it, and a prayer for him," because he wants the world to know this human being was here, and he was worthy. And this is the final twist I didn't tell you at the beginning. When Tiki carved that stone, he wasn't thinking about history. He didn't know that anyone would be talking about him 1,000 years later. He was doing the only human thing he knew, to say, "I will not let you be forgotten." And that exactly is what made him unforgettable too. At the beginning of this video, I asked you, if you died tomorrow, who would remember you 100 years from now? I think Tiki knows the answer. It isn't about being a king. It isn't about building a palace. It isn't even about doing something great. The answer is to love someone enough that they refuse to let you be forgotten. The stone SM10 still stands today by the wall of the Växjö Cathedral in Sweden, 1,000 years, and Tiki is still saying the same thing. This human being was here, and he was worthy. Maybe immortality is not what you build for yourself. Maybe immortality is who you leave behind to remember you. Next episode, a new stone, a new place, and a story bigger than you expect. You know what to do.